1 o'clock, so I just started recording, just so everyone knows.
Excellent. Thank you, Stephen.
You're welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Go ahead and get some people coming in here. And as you're coming in, if you want to, here's the link to the attendance form. And then also in the chat, insert a GIF or image or reaction about how you feel when you, that represents how you feel when you interact with science text. Give everybody a few more minutes to come in and get situated before we officially start. Ms. Wiggins, thank you.
You know, all the science stuff makes my heart happy.
I know. It's like, yes.
Exactly.
More. Yes. I love it. But all right, I gotta make sure you fill out that attendance form. I'll put it back in the chat for you. And then insert a GIF or an image in the chat that represents how you feel when you interact with science text. Well, good afternoon. We'll officially get started. My name is Brent White, and I am your Elementary Education Associate for Science, K through 5, here in the Office of Assessment and Standards. And I am joined by my esteemed colleagues. I have Miss Mandy Hawker for Elementary Education Associate for ELA. And I am joined by Mr. Stephen Corsini. He is the Elementary Education Associate for Social Studies. So they will be helping me out in the chat, dropping links, responding in the chat, and being co-pilots for me. So it's great. Thank you all again for coming. Mandy kicked us off great a couple weeks ago with closed reading in ELA. And today our focus is going to be using that closed reading strategy in science. So our agenda for today during this hour, we're going to just go over some purpose and learning targets and talking about closed reading in science. And then the strategy we're going to use for closed reading is called cross-out poetry. And then, of course, we will have some time for clarity and closure. So our purpose today is to strengthen comprehension and content literacy through a closed reading strategy. And remember, closed reading is a strategy to navigate complex text. Okay? And oftentimes in science, we have to use certain vocabulary words in science. And that just automatically knocks up the lexile level when we use that vocabulary. So a lot of students aren't used to that, but we just have to use that academic vocabulary, which again has a strong effect size as well. And of course, building on what Mandy did a couple weeks ago as well. So learning targets for today, we're going to talk about connecting a closed reading strategy to a science context. Again, I'm just going to show you one strategy for using closed reading, and there are multiple other ones as well. And identify a closed reading strategy or share another one, a reading strategy for science text. So benefits of closed reading. Okay. It is, again, a method of text analysis. And again, for our young scientists, that is oftentimes navigating through complex texts because they might be presented with information and vocabulary that they have not been used to or had before. So it can be very complex and intimidating. Okay? And it can be complex and intimidating even for us as adults, because we start seeing all these complex words and we're like, okay, I got to figure out what this word means before this word, and placing it all into context. So it is complex even for adults. So benefits of closed reading, it does, closed reading will focus on specific details of a text. And we're going to be rereading with a purpose, okay? Usually just about 3 times. But of course, we all know we can do it more than 3. Okay. But at minimum, we want at least 3 times. Okay? And that's just, as adults, we think about that all the time. Like, we don't get everything, one time through something. So we always go back and read and reread. So I want to take some time first and setting the stage here and to see connections with closed reading in the science and engineering practices and our data review report for science. So we're going to first look at the data review report. And Stephen has, you dropped that in the chat. Perfect. Okay. And if you'll go to the page, scroll down until you see general instructional strategies. Okay. And I want you to just take a moment, and you can just look on my screen as well. I want you to take a moment and kind of see where you think closed reading and reading science text in general fits in. And you can make some mental notes. You can type in the chat. I'll give you a few minutes of reflection time to where you see closed reading in this data review report. All right, we have practice skills for breaking down complex text in a paragraph form, discerning data. Oh, it's in every line. Okay. All right, practice skills in breaking down the text content, reading graphs, maps, models. I love building reading stamina. Modeling, yes. Providing real-world examples. Students analyzing and interpreting textual data and infographics, developing and using models, great SEP. So we already covered that one about the SEP, developing and using models. Breaking down text. And again, if you have not taken some time to look at the data review reports in general for any subject, I'd like to encourage you to go ahead and do that because it gives you some great information. And I know with the science leaders across the state, we have spent some time with them this year looking at not only this year's data review report, but data review reports from the past. okay, and looking for trends and patterns that we see. Okay? If you are interested, that's something that I can share with y'all as well, that they've gone through and did some of the legwork and looking at those trends and patterns. And y'all did such a better job than I did, and I wanted to focus on just 3 of them, and 3 of them that I just highlighted, and I saw someone already mentioned this, providing information in various forms, analyzing and interpreting textual data, numerical data, infographics, and really to establish those relationships, patterns, trends, to develop their own conclusions. I also saw it strongly in incorporating varied question types. So looking at having some of those reading passages and asking questions about that, might be a graph or a model, graph and a model based on that text. And then also building off of that, breaking down the text and to discern data and present the information in different formats. Y'all came up with the same ones. Again, really, it is almost everywhere in that data review report. And Mandy mentioned this, I think last time, that there will be science and social studies text on the SC Ready 3 through 5. So it's a great opportunity to get students exposed to it. Okay? And also a great point for integration. So if we're already reading, we're already looking at text, really providing those entry points for integration. And in the science room during Mandy's webinar, we had a really good conversation about really comes down to the intentionality of text selection, which was really great and really powerful. And another thing also that came up through that conversation is that with the science leaders, and if we're a science teacher, we only teach science. Okay? We might be in a bubble or a silo, okay? And we don't see what other instruction looks like. Okay? And so I challenge them to go ahead and observe an ELA classroom or observe ELA instruction, observe social studies instruction. And a lot of them realized that, again, we were still doing a closed reading strategy, but we weren't calling it closed reading. Okay? And so it's great to use that common language, because if that's just going to build not only our confidence, but the students' confidence, like, okay, I got this. I have a strategy. I can do this. Okay? I'm just using it in a different context. And again, they want to oftentimes put us in silos by themselves. Like, wait, you know an ELA strategy? You know math? You're like, yeah, I do. Okay, and so they can transfer that information over. And we already had one relationship, one connection to the science engineering practice about developing and using models, which was great. And did anybody, and I don't have them up here, but did anybody make any other connections to a science and engineering practice? And those are the ones that students are doing science.
That's what I'm trying to.
And if anybody has any connections to any of those, they can drop them in the chat or come off mute.
It's interesting. So many of these strategies, this is only the second time I've really looked at the science data review. Very similar to the social studies review.
Yeah.
A lot of crossovers. So just more backing up what you said about this being a transferable strategy, especially if you're an elementary teacher and graced with teaching every content area.
Yes. Yes. And we applaud you. You are might not consider yourself a science teacher, right? But please know that you are still a teacher of science, and we love that. Yeah, breaking down graphs, maps, and models. That's great. And does any of this thinking about what Stephen said about, as the crossover. And so really it's use it for that justification. Okay, of why you're doing something. Why are we doing closed reading in science? Why are we doing closed reading in social studies? Why are we doing this strategy? Okay, here's evidence, justification, okay, from that. Yes. Ms. Wiggins, yes, asking questions, planning, carrying out investigations. Okay, those are some of those SEPs. Another SEP, obtain, evaluate, and communicate information. We obtain science, and a lot of times obtain, evaluating, communicating information. That's where a lot of scientists in the real world live. Because we all know that they have grad students and undergrad students that do a lot of the planning and carrying out the investigations. But the scientists, they're communicating information. They have to communicate it out to their peers. And all those scientific journals have to be peer reviewed. Okay? Make sure they're communicating that information. Okay? Evaluating information. Is this information correct? Is it valid? Of course, we obtain a lot of information about reading about science. Okay? So we have to weigh, again, we're more complex text. We are using higher level vocabulary words, okay? Because, that's just what it's called, okay? We don't have to, call it something else. It is what it is. Photosynthesis is photosynthesis. It's just the word we have to use. That's great. So I want to dive us in to using this cross-out poetry as a strategy. And again, with closed reading, we're going to do a minimum of 3 reads. Okay. And so I have a graphic here for you. So for step 1, we are going to read an article. All right. And I have the article in 2 forms. All right. I have it on a Google slide and I have it on a PDF. And Stephen's going to be dropping that link in the chat. And so for the first time when we read this article, I just want you to read it. You can even kind of skim it, okay? But don't do any annotation or anything to the article yet. The power of yet. And so this is an article I chose for adult readers, okay? So if you are thinking like, oh, my kids would never, be able to handle something like this, that's true. Okay. But I did modify it, because we are adult learners, so we can handle a little bit more text. Okay. And so the article is about the science and engineering practices. All right. And so what I want to do first is give you some time in your alone zone. Okay? And you can have your cameras off. And I just want you to read the article, skim the article. You don't have to, we're not reading for details yet. We're just being, make it a little bit more warm. So I'll give you some time to do that. Again, in the chat, there is a Google slide copy and a PDF copy as well. So give you some time if you feel more comfortable doing this off camera. Right, that is more than acceptable. And I'll give you a little bit of time to do that, and then I will bring everybody back together. And we're just staying in our alone zone, our independent zone. And I'll give you about 3 more minutes. We'll come back at 1:26. I know it's probably not going to be enough time, but we're just making it a little bit more warm. Kind of giving you a flavoring. About 1 more minute. All right. What we're going to do next is the next step of the cross-out poetry protocol, or the closed reading, is to use the cross-out poetry protocol. And we're going to do this still in our alone zone. And what we're going to end up doing is this time we are going to end up annotating our text. And this might become a little difficult virtually. But through Google Slides, there's lots of tools and also extensions on different browsers, Kami, for example, that can allow you to annotate. But what we want to do is we want to highlight, circle, and underline any words that we want to keep first. So highlight, underline, again, you can change the text color digitally, use the underlining tool, using the highlight tool, using the words that we want to highlight, circle, and keep those words that we want to keep first. And if you're struggling coming up with like, okay, what do I keep? You can almost use the every 6 word strategy. Okay? And so, the way we structure English sentences, usually about the every sixth word is going to be something important. Now, it could be the seventh word. It could be the fifth word. Okay. And so it's not set in stone, but it's just a general kind of rule to follow. We can eliminate the articles a, and the. And then I'm going to challenge you, if you have time today, to get creative. Okay, by doing that, you can insert a picture in the background. Okay, you can use different colors to cross out. If you kind of see this going into a concept map, you can draw arrows to connecting thoughts. And so let's go ahead and do the first sentence together. Okay, so I'll read the first sentence for us. So a framework for K-12 science education, okay, offers a transformative vision for science classrooms in which students actively engage in science practices as they apply disciplinary core ideas to make sense of the natural world. And so if someone could type, or you can come off mute, what are some words that we would want to keep from that sentence? What are some words that we want to remember from that sentence?
Actively engage.
Yes, actively engage, highlight, underline, circle, change the font color, apply, make sense, transformative. Okay? Because moving to these three-dimensional standards, it's going to be transformative. It's a lot different. Now we're adding a third dimension going from a 2D to 3D. Good, transformative. Make sense of the natural world. Yes. Making sense. Ooh, framework. I was gonna cue that. Yeah. So we are a framework aligned state. Okay. So we want to make sure we highlight and keep the framework. Okay. And then you can cross out everything else. Okay. Or you just leave it black if you change the text color. Okay. Or you can use the strikeout tool if you have one available to you. Okay. And you can cross out everything else from that sentence. Okay. And then I'm going to give you some alone time again in our independent zone. Okay. To work your way through the rest of the text. If you do not get finished, it is okay. You'll still be able to do the next step. Okay. No matter what you have done. So go ahead and work through, and I'll give you about 5 minutes. I know that might be just not enough time. And so use the strikeout tool. Okay. Yes, using those real world objects, something that they can feel, they can touch. So again, if you feel more comfortable doing this off camera, that is fine. And again, just kind of give you a little taste of flavoring of the strategy. And again, no matter how much you get finished, you will still be able to move on to the next step. And if you feel inclined to share something important in the chat that you want to keep from the next paragraph, something that sticks out, please feel free to do that in the chat. And again, this is your copy. So whatever makes sense for you to cross out or keep, it is a personal decision. Now, I know that was not enough time to finish. But again, you will still be able to do the next step, and the person, the group that you're with will not penalize you, all right, for not getting completed. So our third step, all right, in our cross-out poetry is going to be warm and cool feedback. And so in a minute, you're going to go into breakout rooms. And being virtual is a little different, sharing. If you can share your screen, you can do that, or you can just talk about it, about what you highlighted and what you crossed out. If you're in groups with some people and they feel comfortable sharing an email and you want to share it virtually as well, that is fine as well. It's just a little tricky in a virtual environment. But I want to give you some time to give some warm and cool feedback. And here are some sentence starters for you. Okay. And so for warm feedback, we want to see this help me see how, this could be combined with, this might allow your students to understand, by including blank, you could do this. Okay. And also provide some cool feedback. Okay. Again, we're not going to provide cool feedback that we're not finished, that we didn't get finished, but wonderings. Okay. I'm struggling with understanding why you maybe kept this word and crossed out this word. Why did you keep this? Okay. And could blank have a negative effect on a blank? Okay. And again, if you just want to spend some time in this breakout room talking about what you highlighted, what you crossed out, if the conversation leads to the strategy in general, that is okay, and we'll do some debriefing of that strategy, as well afterwards. So talk about some warm and cool feedback. Again, providing feedback to colleagues, either just sharing screens, or if you feel comfortable sharing email addresses as well.
That was a short 10 second. Oh. Elaine? Or Mandy? Doing a share?
Hello, welcome back.
Petition. So I kept saying to make sense of the natural world is sort of like my refrain, I guess, is what I used.
Yes.
It's, I mean,
Awesome.
that was, and I did that in 5 seconds. So y'all
Yeah.
bear with me. It's not the best point, but
It's all good, Marion. I appreciate Marion was in the breakout room and she was sharing. She made a poem from the words that she was doing, which is great. Okay. And if Marianne, if you still want to share that in the chat, I know other people would love to see that as well. Or you can share it with me and I can include it on a separate email to share out as well. That was great. So let's do some debriefing. And what I would like to do is have some participation. Thank you, Marianne, for doing that in the chat. If you feel comfortable coming off mute, or you can type in the chat, is how does this closed reading strategy build reading comprehension and understanding? How does this closed reading strategy build reading comprehension and understanding? If you feel comfortable coming off, go ahead.
I was just going to say it makes you focus on the most important details.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Amber, in the chat as well. It has students zoom in on the important ideas and details, help students focus on key concepts and essential pieces. Thank you, Marianne.
I think this will be a neat way with kicking off a new unit or topic to see if students could go ahead and identify what would end up being some key vocabulary terms.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. And I've had conversations when I've been out. Some people are like, I mean, it could basically be a formative assessment almost. And you could have something beforehand, and then even later on, after some instruction, go back and revisit the text or revisit the same piece. Is there more that we can cross out because our understanding is more? Or they're like, oh, I forgot to circle that word. That word ended up being really important, that I want to do. Excellent. By using some ideas multiple ways, getting feedback from peers. So feedback has a great effect size. Okay. I love that, Stephen. Thank you for sharing what happened in your breakout room. These science teachers help to make sense of the standards. Yes. I love that.
I think too, I like the idea of just, if you did have them go and just circle what they thought were the key words and then have them go back and eliminate even some of those so they can get it down to really the essence.
Yeah.
I've done the 6-word poem strategy before where they have to get it down to 6 words.
Yes.
They can use, they can repeat words, like they might have 12 words in the poem, but they're only 6 different words. And that really, they have to collaborate at that point with others and to really have the conversations that occur to get them to get it down to the very nuts and bolts of the whatever it is you're reading. It's interesting, and it's a powerful way to use collaboration, but also to come out with the really, like if you even doing a literary text, it could be the theme or whatever is in the story. So
absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And there's power in repetition. And, there's also power in just saying it once. So it's something like, okay, I want to keep remembering this. I'm going to, make sure it's repeated. Or, there's also power in just saying it, one time. That's great. Good. ELA, finding in text. Okay. Reading several times helps all students. Yeah, allows for creativity. Yeah. A lot of students, I loved doing it because I really saw the creative side come out of my students. I did this in a brick and mortar classroom and virtually as well. And I am not a good artist. So I would maybe want to do it virtually so I can just insert a picture in the background. but I really saw a lot of, found out more about my students. Like, this is, how they like art and they can really show something, and they would, I would challenge them to do something, that was related, to that. But they would work it in with the words that they crossed out. They would work it in, and it became really powerful. And I love doing it both virtually and in person. All right, building background, carry on to the next academic year. Absolutely. That reminder, like, oh yeah, I did learn about that. I forgot about it. Yeah, absolutely. You can show the cross-out poetry
Right,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do it one more time. And they're also going to be on the landing page as well. But I'll go ahead and switch over to that. We also go through it, through it multiple times. And these, are not set in stone. So if you wanted to add something, it's like every sixth word is not, law. It could be the seventh word, the eighth word, the fifth word, And again, we just don't want students to start, number one, crossing out everything or keeping everything. So the whole, part is not, important. We can have some cross outs and stuff that's not important because it's just a little excess. Right. And for the next question I'm going to ask you, we're going to do what's called a waterfall protocol. So what I want you to think about, and just go ahead and type in your answer in the chat, but I would like you not to hit enter yet. So just go ahead and type it in the chat, and then we'll all hit enter at the same time. So your question is, what are some other strategies that you could use with reading and understanding science? So I just showed you one way, but let's go ahead and get some brainstorming ideas about what other strategies we can use. And again, just don't hit enter yet. And then I will count you in. And then we will all see them at once, called the waterfall protocol. I'm going to go ahead and count us in. All right. And then when I get to 0, again, we'll hit enter. And then as you see stuff coming in, it is going to be a lot at once, but you can use some reaction from that. And of course, it's all recorded, so you'll see everybody's reactions as well. All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, hit enter. Lots of strategies filling up there. And if you see something you like, go ahead and give it a reaction. Graphic organizer. Ooh, I love color coding. Yes. Similar, we're seeing a connection to a say mean matter strategy in ELA. And acting out or illustrate the vocabulary. Fine. Now, do you think that this would be a better strategy than, let's say, just like answering, read the passage and then answer 3 questions at the end? Am I still able to see what students know and understand? Okay, I'm going to answer 3 questions at the end, but I can still show what I know through this way. And I forgot to mention this earlier too, when we were talking about feedback. It's okay if people have different words crossed out, okay? Because that's part of that feedback. Like, okay, why did you cross out this word? Like, oh, I might have already known what that word means, or, I might have already had some background knowledge. Or like, oh, I crossed that out because I didn't know what it means, but now I see that's important. So having that conversation can help, because they can have different words crossed out, everything, but they're still kind of, I'm almost using that jigsaw, and I saw that strategy in here. The students are still going to get the content. Of course, that's not the only time they're going to see it, because you're going to do other instruction and everything, and then they can see what other people did and how they reacted to the text, because we're all going to react to text differently. Oh, accountability talk, yes.
Yeah, and piggybacking off of what you just said, Brent, someone, and I can't find it, had a comment that was about the cross out, and their suggestion was to pass it. So I would do mine, pass it to you, you cross it out, pass it to Mandy. And when you just talked about that time for conversation, oh my word, to then have that conversation with those people you passed, why you eliminated that word, why you kept that word. Another great strategy.
I love that. I'm gonna steal that one and steal a whole bunch of other ones. That's gonna be the next evolution. I love it. Yeah, I love that, Mandy, about vocabulary instruction being dependent on the audience. I love that. Yep. And we already helped answer my next question as well, but I just want to give space if anybody had any other thoughts about implementing closed reading in science.
Where is she at? Who, me? You?
Lots of great conversation and lots of great takeaways here in the chat as well. Okay. I'm gonna be stealing some when I go out to the field. Okay, so let's revisit part of our clarity culture. Let's revisit our learning targets. Thumbs up or thumbs down, you can do it virtually with a reaction or on camera. Thumbs up or thumbs down, I can connect closed reading to a science context. Learning target number 2, I can identify a closed reading strategy for science. Awesome, love it, great. All right, as we're wrapping up here, I'm going to have one last favor for you to provide some feedback, right, about this webinar. Okay. And so that link, I'll put it in the chat for you. This is feedback from our office. And as you are doing that, I just want to thank you so much again for attending. If anybody didn't have a chance to attend, that's in your building, or you came in late and missed some of the earlier slides. Again, this is being recorded, and those slides are on the landing page as well. And so I want to thank you again, and please do not hesitate to reach out to any of us for any professional learning, any questions. We are here to serve you, and I want to thank you for taking care of the most precious natural resource we have in South Carolina, which is our students. So I want to thank you so much, and if you will do that feedback survey for me, I would greatly appreciate that. It helps me grow, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And again, please do not hesitate to reach out. And we will listen and linger for any questions as well. No problem. Thank y'all.
Brent, I'm gonna stop recording.
Okay, yeah.
Excuse me.